Who are you? Who. I don't know what that was. Hey, what's going on, friends? It's your resident internet bike nerd, Broadway biker, also known as Joni. Welcome back to my channel where I fuse my two great loves, music and cycling! Hey, it's me again. Some people have been asking why I've been missing for a while. I don't post videos very often, but I definitely have been on more of a hiatus than usual. I happen to live in Minneapolis, the city where George Floyd was murdered at the hands of the Minneapolis Police Department. Watching my community move through such a horrific and horrible event was pretty rough. I think it's extremely obvious, beyond a doubt, that racism is still alive and pretty darn well off today in America. And that's not okay. I'm not an expert. I don't have a lot to say on the matter. But I seriously hope with all of my heart that we can use this event going forward to actually listen to the voices of people of color in our communities to create actual lasting change. And I mean, come on, you guys, let's be real. The bike world is a pretty stinking white space. Also, come on, let's be real, it's a total boys club. Jesus. I only worked in a shop for 3 years and I knew that the day I was in there. I found some pretty sweet articles about diversifying the outdoors, as well as some super badass black cyclists of history that I was totally unfamiliar with. I'll put both of those links in the description below. So when you're done with this video, check them out if you want. All right, let's get back into bikes. Shout out to all you first-time viewers and welcome to this big internet bike nerd family. If you love bike commuting, touring, and a little bit of Broadway thrown in here and there, hit that subscribe button, why don't you? And join our community of now over 400 strong bike lovers and bike curious folks alike. Yeah, seriously, I just want to say thank you so much to every single person that has subscribed to this channel. I think 400 is out of this world. Like, I am stoked beyond belief. So thank you so much. Keep commenting. I love reading and replying to all the things you have to say in the comment section. So let's just keep this bike nerd family going strong. A lot of folks have asked me, okay, cool, I want a bike tour, but how do I plan these things? Well, my friends, you are in luck because it just so happens that I am about to bike to a friend's wedding in another state. So I thought, what better time to make a video about it than right now? Let's get started. So, believe it or not, there are just 5 little easy steps to get you going on your first weekend bike trip. Step 1. It sounds really obvious, but the first step is to just decide where you're going. Every good trip has to start and end somewhere, especially if this is your first trip. It is so helpful to know exactly where you are starting and where you are ending. Congratulations! You have officially decided where you are going to go on your bike trip. The second step is to choose what style of bike touring you will be doing. Personally, for me, I classify the 2 main choices as tent style and bed style. It is up to you which you choose to do, or if you do a combination of both. But you'll definitely want to know if you're going to be relying on camping, or if you're going to be enjoying lighter bags and mosquito-free beds. Once you've decided what kind of accommodations you'll be needing, it's actually going to be a lot easier to plan your route. If you know that you're only going to be staying in sanctioned campgrounds, you're obviously going to want to plan a route that plops you around some campgrounds. If you know you've got a couple of friends or family members that you would love to stay with overnight, maybe your route is going to change to accommodate that. If you're stealth camping, you don't need to really worry about any of that. If you're curious about more places to stay when bike touring, definitely check out my last video. It's called Top 10 Places to Stay While Bike Touring or something like that. I'll put a little linky up here as well and down in the description below. Okay, so step number 3 is to plan your route. When planning your route, you gotta do a little bit of research. If you don't really care where you go and you want someone else to do all the research for you, I would highly recommend checking out the maps and resources by, you guessed it, Adventure Cycling Association, also known as ACA. Not only are their maps completely comprehensive with elevation profiles, mileage, but they also include things like gas stations, restaurants, public libraries, hotels, motels, etc. Basically anything you need to bike tour. You can get these maps either in paper form or GPX data to use with your app of choice on your handy-dandy smartphone. Personally, I really like using a map called, an app. I really like using an app called Map Out. They have an overlay of bicycle routes you can turn on, and you can import all of your GPX data from other sites, or you can draw your own routes and add as many waypoints as your little heart desires. It shows elevation, mileage, and it has some limited data regarding hotels, parks, campgrounds, etc. If you're going rogue and planning your own route, may I introduce you to your number one tool for planning your route on your bicycle. Here it is. Behold! The smartphone! Yes! Haha! Believe it or not, there are so many applications on your phone that are going to kill the game when it comes to making a safe and effective bike route for yourself. Good ol' Google Maps has this amazing thing called Street View. Using it, you can get a full 360 from the ground view of almost any road in the world. Why is this helpful, you might ask? Because you are going to want to look out for a few things on the roads that you might travel on. Here's what you should look out for. Number 1, paved shoulders. Take a look and see if you can find roads with paved shoulders. Trust me, this is so much more fun and safe when you're biking along a more busy road such as a state highway, when you have a paved shoulder to escape from all of the traffic. Number 2, lower traffic roads. Please do not take the interstate. There are only a couple of states and sections where bike travel on the interstate is even legal, so do your research state by state if you need to take the interstate for any reason. P.S. It is highly, highly stressful. I personally would always look for lower speed roads when possible, especially if you're going through a windy or hilly area. No one wants a car flying around the corner, not expecting to see a bike at 60 miles per hour. 3, sanctioned bike routes. There's an amazing network of roads and trails called the United States Bicycle Route System. They're not super widespread, and they're not even in every state, but it's still worth taking a look to see if you already have some roads near you that are designated bike routes. To be honest, these routes are still just highways. The only difference is that sometimes there's this tiny, tiny little sign on the corner of the road with like a little bike on it every 3 miles or so. A car would probably never notice, but hey, at least we get a tiny sign. Another hot tip is to turn on the bicycle overlay on Google Maps to help you find trails and bicycle routes near you. Number 4, road surface. Sometimes you can't always tell just from looking at a map if the road is gravel or paved. A road might look like a pretty major thoroughfare, but that does not mean that it's not made of sand. Speaking from personal experience here. This is again where Street View is your number 1 bestseller and friend. Just make sure the roads you are planning on riding are actually roads you want to be biking on. That's more for us touring folks here, not so much for my mountain bike packer friends. Okay, so the 4th step is to plan your stops. If this is your first or second time doing a little bike overnight or a weekend bike, it might not be the best idea to do the style of bike touring where you just
go with the wind. You got no idea where you're gonna stop or when you're gonna stop or who you're gonna meet or that kind of thing.
Okay, so what does planning stops mean? It means you're going to check on your little map, where can I get food? Where can I get water? Where can I go to the bathroom that's not a poop hole in the ground? Where can I get internet for my Zoom call at 5 p.m.? That joke probably won't be funny in 2 years. Plan ahead. If you see a stretch of road where there are 40 long miles in between gas stations to refill your water bottles, know that in advance. Another part of planning your stops is marking down where your overnight stops are. Use what you decided in step number 2, camping or bed-style touring, to inform and plan your stops. Apparently, poster child for Google Maps here, but really, it's helpful. Look up where the national parks, state parks, campgrounds are, etc., and make a reservation. Basically, this step is just filling in the little dots along the route you've made for yourself. It's not uncommon to adjust your route to fit your stops, or your stops to fit your route. Don't sweat it too much. I found it's really helpful to decide approximately how many miles you want to go per day, and then just look within that range to see what the options are for staying overnight. Pro tip: factor in altitude and climate. 60 miles on a flat day feels a lot different than 60 miles of mountains. Congratulations, you have made it to step number 5. Pack your gear and go. It is literally that simple. The biggest mistake about bike touring is hyper overanalyzing every single little detail. You will never fully feel ready for your first bike trip. That's why you've just got to do these steps beforehand and then pack your things and get on your bike. If you're apprehensive about it, there will never be a perfect time. That's why I'm suggesting just like a fun little weekend trip just to get you going and get your toes wet. I have another video that shows all the gear that I packed to go across the country last year that I will also link down below in the description for this video. I don't really want to get into gear details. There are tons of lists and videos out there to get you started, but let me know in a comment if I should make a bike touring gear video. Totally leave me a comment if you want more clarification or information on a section of this video, and I will be happy to respond or make a more in-depth video. Remember, it's not as hard as you think it is. You just have to decide where you're going, choose if you want to stay in a tent or a bed, plan your route, pick your stops, and get out the door. I hope wherever you go, you have an amazing time. Bring a friend or two, or do it alone. It's your choice. If you do go on any exciting weekend adventures, please tell us about it in the comments below so we can cheer you on and encourage you to do your next bike adventure. I'm sending so much love to all of you. Please take care of each other, be kind, and listen. And remember, get your butt on a bike. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.